As an educator, I want to be able to tell you, okay, if this happens to your flock, here's what you can do. And if you do this one thing, you'll have a happy, healthy flock. And just as a person, I want to be able to tell you, here's how you can experience peace in your chicken yard and beyond. And right now, I have none of those things to give you. All I have to give you is the truth. Hey guys, welcome to Chickenlandia. I am a backyard chicken educator here in the Pacific Northwest, but you can call me the president of Chickenlandia. So for those of you that don't know, I am in total emergency mode right now in Chickenlandia. In my video last week, I talked about how an illness has come into my flock. It is an intestinal disease called coccidiosis, and I have lost a few chickens, and some chickens have been receiving medication, and I've also been giving my chickens some immune boosters and some herbs and things like that. Needless to say, this has been a very stressful experience. The main chicken that I was talking about in my last video was my little chicken named Bagel, and many of you probably remember her when she was a baby. She was a little naked neck chicken, and I got her in the spring when she was a baby, and she was really tame. After I shot the last video, she was doing so good, and in fact, I shot a whole nother video where I was like, she's back out with the flock and she's doing great, and then all of a sudden, she took like this really bad turn, and I think she already had some other underlying things going on, because that's what coccidiosis does. It attacks the chickens that are already compromised in another way, and she just took this really bad turn all of a sudden, and she died after I really thought she was gonna make it. When she died, I was just, it was another one of those moments of just like, not only am I grieving, but I'm like, how am I going to tell my audience this? Because I'm just the kind of person that I want to show you the happy ending. And I did have a video where I showed you the happy ending. And you know what? I could have totally put out that video. I could have totally put out that video and just pretended like everything was okay. But there is one thing that bothers me really since I just got into this whole chicken game. Basically, there are like these two extremes. There are educators that will be like, look, if you do everything that I say, your chickens are never gonna get sick. And when I read that, when I see that, when I hear somebody say that, I really doubt that if they've had chickens for any period of time, because just by letting your chickens get older and, once they reach a certain age, and certainly when they get like elderly, they are gonna have issues. Like, you're gonna have problems, you're gonna have some level of illness unless you're not allowing your chickens to reach a certain age. And there's no judgment on that as long as you're being humane about it. But I don't think it gives the whole picture if you're saying like, there is a way to never have illness in your flock. And if you're claiming that you've never ever had illness in your flock and you've had chickens for 30 years, like I have a really hard time with that. And I'm not saying this to like talk bad or judge other educators, because their intentions are really good. Like, they really care about chickens, and it is hard to put forth an image that isn't perfect. It is really hard, and it's a really vulnerable feeling. On the other side of that, I've seen people say, if illness gets into your flock, that's like a death sentence. Like, all your chickens are gonna die. Like, that's it. And I remember one time I was literally like yelling at my computer because I was reading this article. This person had illness get into their flock. They were really trying to treat the illness. And then at the end of the article, it says, and this person lost their entire flock. And it was like, this person had like 40 chickens. And I was like, something is being left out of this story. So here's the thing. If you get illness, a bad illness in a really, really small flock, like 4 or 5 chickens, there is a chance you could lose all of them. But if you had like this big flock, like 20, 30, 40 chickens, and illness comes in, even if it's like a bad illness, there is much more of a chance that some of those chickens are going to survive. Now, I'm not saying there has never been a situation where an illness came in and killed a whole flock, but what usually happens in these situations is that an illness has come into a flock, it is realized that it is a very serious illness, and what happens is a decision is made to cull the entire flock. In other words, to exterminate the entire flock. But I think it's important to, allow people to understand the nature of disease, the nature of what they're dealing with, and to have them understand the whole story and not just these extreme stories where either you do everything right and nothing bad ever happens, or you make one mistake and you lose your entire flock. Like, both of those scenarios are not, and I'm sorry, but in my opinion, they're just not very realistic. So despite this being very uncomfortable for me, because I am somebody that I really like certainty, I don't like uncertainty. I want to be in control of a situation. I don't like it when I feel really out of control, and I don't like other people seeing me go through that. Like, that's just really uncomfortable. But I had to make a decision. Am I going to tell the truth in this situation? Like, here's what's really going on, or am I going to compromise the truth for the sake of my image? And I decided to just come out and show you what's going on because I feel like that's what I would want. So right now I'm just in this place where I am keeping a really good eye on my chickens. If illness happens, I have medication ready for those chickens. And for the rest of my flock, I'm just trying to boost their systems as much as I can. And I am going to give you a breakdown of everything that I am doing with my flock. But I want to get through it first so I can have everything organized for you and really give you a good idea of what I did. And hopefully someday it can help you with your own flock. And I'm praying that it works for me. I'm just going to tell you something. I think it was about 27 years ago. I was in a really bad place in my life. It was really bad. One morning I woke up and I didn't know where I was. I remember there was this window, and all of a sudden the sun came through this window, and I was in so much turmoil, but I just had this feeling of gratitude that the sun had come up. And in that moment, I decided I'm just going to take one step out of this room, one step towards peace, one step towards a big change, one step towards the rest of my life. I'm grateful for that experience because now when I come out into my chicken yard and I'm having this thing happen where there's so much uncertainty and there's this turmoil, and I hate it. I'm really stressed out about it. But I just tell myself, today I'm just going to take one step towards balance. I'm just going to take one step towards peace. I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, but this is the truth. And I hope that it can inspire you to keep going with your chicken yard and beyond. Oh, this chicken drama. So, one thing that I'm not doing is I'm not medicating my entire flock. And I know that there are people that would do that at this point. I'm not quite at that point yet. I could get there. There's no absolutes in Chickenlandia. I could totally get there. But right now I have some really specific reasons why I don't want to do that. And if you want to know more about why I've made that decision, you can click right here. It's 100% friendly. Backyard chickens, education, and entertainment. And I know you're going to love it. Stay tuned, guys. I hope to bring you better news soon.